Hey there, my wedding planning friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm Emily Summer. I'm a wedding planner based in Montana, and I make weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice. Today's video, we're talking all about one of my favorite vendors. If you've been around for a while, you know how much emphasis I place on a good wedding DJ. So today we're talking all about how to find that DJ, to vet the DJ that's going to be right for you. When it comes to finding a wedding DJ, there's so much more that goes into it than just playing music and having music a part of your wedding. Your DJ essentially is kind of the MC to your wedding. They are the ones that are going to help get guests from point A to point B and make sure the whole day and evening is flowing very nicely and staying on track. So I work very closely with DJs as a wedding planner, and I can't stress enough how important it is to find a good professional DJ. So when it comes to searching for this vendor, much like any other wedding vendor that you're going to hire, you want to do your research and you want to be able to find the one that's going to be right for you and fit your needs. So step one is doing your research and reading reviews. The best way to find out about a wedding DJ and what their work is like is to read reviews from past clients. And something about wedding DJs is, while they are obviously hired by the couple for the wedding, you might find reviews from not only the couple themselves, but guests of the wedding, other vendors that have worked with the DJ, as a wedding DJ has one of the greatest impacts on your kind of overall wedding and guests as a whole than any other wedding vendor. Most guests won't really acknowledge other wedding vendors or even really notice what's going on with other wedding vendors. They just kind of realize that everything comes together. But the wedding DJ is usually somebody that has a lot of interactions with the guests and something that guests will remember, and so reviews might reflect that. So this is usually the number one step when it comes to searching for any wedding vendor, is making sure you're reading reviews. But reviews for your DJ hold even more value than some of the other wedding vendors. This is a great way to kind of figure out how they operate, get a sense of their personality and their style, as those are most of the things that people are going to be commenting on in the reviews. Is the professionalism. You want to make sure that they are personable, that the guests had a good time and they were able to kind of read the room and be able to play music that got people dancing all night. Number two, asking your venue or other vendors that you already have booked for recommendations on DJs. Like I said, as a planner especially, we have a very close relationship with the wedding DJs that we work with, as we are kind of working behind the scenes to keep everything flowing and on time. And the DJ is one that kind of executes that and brings it forward and gets all the guests where they need to be. So we work very hand in hand, and it is so important to me that my couples have a good wedding DJ, not only for themselves and for the sake of their wedding, but also for me, because it makes both of our lives so much easier when we are able to have a good partnership like that, and the event is going to run so much smoother. Venues also can recommend DJs that are familiar with the space, which is also super helpful when it comes to finding a wedding DJ. Number three, I highly recommend having some type of conversation with your DJ prior to officially booking them. Whether this is in person, if that's feasible, a video chat, phone call, whatever, so you can kind of get a sense of their personality and also their professionalism, and be able to have a chat with them and make sure that you vibe. If you're having a conversation with them and they seem kind of dull, or you're not really confident that they are going to bring the energy that you need to your wedding, it's probably not going to be all that much different on your wedding day. So you want somebody that's going to make you feel comfortable, that you feel comfortable with, that you feel confident they can provide what you need at your wedding. Number four, inquire about additional services. So maybe you're debating between a few different DJs. They all have great reviews, they have good experience, but you're looking for a little bit something extra. You want to make sure that they have fun lights for the dance floor, or you want to have a photo booth. A lot of DJs will include these items into their packages. So this is something to ask when you're in the vetting process and inquiring about different wedding DJs. Number five is to ask how they acquire their music and how that process looks with you. So are they a DJ that is going to kind of take whatever genre you like best and they can kind of make a playlist around it? Are they going to require you to have a whole list of songs to kind of build off of? Or are they somebody that says, this is kind of what we play, I have set playlists and I'll kind of tailor it to your guests, but you don't have a whole lot of say in the specific songs that go into the playlist? And this is kind of where knowing what your desires and your needs are going to come in really handy prior to even booking your wedding DJ. So if you're somebody that wants to have a pretty heavy hand in choosing the songs at your wedding, and you want to be able to have a pretty long playlist of like must play these songs, or on the flip side, you have a rather lengthy list of do not playlists. If you want to have a lot of control over your music, make sure that you're having this conversation with potential DJs to know how they operate and kind of what that process is going to look like. On kind of the flip side of that too, if you don't really have a whole lot of strong opinions on your music, maybe there's kind of a genre or a couple songs that you really like, but you want the DJ to be able to kind of just take over and play the music that is working best for your crowd. Is that something that they're comfortable with? Is that something they have experience with? Can you trust them to be able to kind of just choose the music that they think is best fitting for the time and the mood and the crowd and all of that? Number 6, can they accommodate your needs in the space, or are their needs going to be accommodated in the space? So for example, you're getting married in a field in the middle of nowhere and there isn't, power hookup for 100 feet away. Are they going to be able to accommodate that? Do they have the extension cords for it? Can they operate without an electrical hookup? A lot of times now DJs have equipment that can work off of Bluetooth and you don't even necessarily need a power hookup. Typically this is for smaller scales and smaller speakers, so like for a ceremony setup. Usually that won't be the case with the reception, as you have most likely larger equipment that's going to be able to reach a larger space and a larger volume of people. But make sure that whatever you are needing at the wedding, that particular DJ can provide for you. Number 7, knowing your planning style. Are you more hands-on, type A, want to have good communication throughout the planning process and have organization throughout the process? Or are you a little bit more laid back and want to kind of give some input, but just want the DJ to do their job and show up and expect that they can handle it? So knowing that, ask your DJ what their planning process is like. What is this going to look like from the time that you book them to the day of your wedding? Are they going to have an initial call with you at the time of booking, and then maybe you discuss some music desires and requirements at that point? And then what does it look like from then on? Do you have any other communication? Is there any other action that you need to take? Many DJs will have some kind of online portal where they can ask you a questionnaire. You go in and you fill out your specific music requests for specific songs, important songs like your first dance, songs for your ceremony, processional, recessional, that sort of thing. So knowing how your planning style is that going to mesh with what their planning process is? Number 8, ask about their equipment and operation. Where do they acquire their music? What are they going to have on the day of? Most DJs will have several forms of music, so downloaded onto the computer, maybe some that are streaming, and everything that's backed up on a hard drive. So you want a good DJ that's going to have a backup plan in case something goes wrong, in case something happens with the equipment. Do they have a backup plan? Do they have another means of acquiring music if something were to go wrong with one of those avenues that they are acquiring the music from? So have that conversation when vetting your DJs as well. Number 9, an important question to ask and understand in the kind of vetting process is, whoever you're speaking with, are they going to be your DJ personally, or do they own a company where there are multiple DJs? So if this is something that's important to you, make sure that you're asking this, so that if you are somebody that wants to be having the communication and conversation with who is going to actually be your DJ, then make sure you're understanding that at the beginning of the process and not being surprised by something later on, by thinking whoever you're talking to is going to be your wedding DJ, but then they actually send somebody else on your wedding day. So make sure you're asking upfront if it will be them individually or if it will be a member of their team on your wedding day. And if it is a member of your team, ask if you'll be able to have conversation with that particular DJ if that's important to you and you want to make sure that you are kind of vibing with them and you can have a conversation with them prior to make sure that you guys vibe and that they will be a good fit for your wedding. Number 10, ensure they are comfortable with announcements. Pretty much any DJ, this is expected. They're going to be making announcements on your wedding day, but it does not hurt to ask and just make sure that you're bringing that up, make sure they're comfortable on a mic and that they are very confident and comfortable with making announcements throughout the night, whatever those announcements might be. Anything that you need communicated to your guests, they are your guy. Number 11, how do they handle requests or do not playlists? Make sure that, we kind of mentioned this before, but make sure that if there are songs that you for sure want to be played, that you have the opportunity to let the DJ know that and that they are going to make sure that they play that. And on the flip side, if there are songs that you absolutely do not want to be played, how they handle that if a guest is going to ask for it, and just requests in general throughout the night. And number 12, have they worked at the venue before? So I mentioned this earlier, it's very helpful if your DJ has worked at the venue before because they will know the acoustics, they'll know the locations, they'll know where the hookups are, where their usual kind of setup spaces are, what works well for the space in reference to being photographed so they're not in the background of pictures, and all those little details that maybe you didn't think about, and then it's one less thing that you have to worry about and plan around. Hiring a wedding DJ that you find professional, personable, and someone that you vibe with is going to be crucial in the overall success of your wedding day and a great addition to your overall wedding vendor team. So use these tips to find the wedding DJ that is right for you. And hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to get weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice, and we'll see you next week.